So here's the thing, we've been in the back to school season for over a month now. Kids have already started university, people are going back into high school, you're making some of the best memories of your life, but what people don't realize is that you're wasting all of your time and money, and I'm sorry that I have to be the one to tell you that. What's up guys, my name is Mateo Hall, and today we are going to be talking about the scam that is college tuition. Here's the thing, this hits really close to home for me because I grew up in a family where my mom started going to school all throughout my childhood, and I was always raised in this household saying, you know, you really need to be going to university. That's the traditional path that I'm sure that many people are taught when they're growing up. That you gotta find a good stable job, and a little 9 to 5, you work your corporate life, save up, and eventually retire in a nice little community home or whatever else you want, right? That's the thing, is that you really shouldn't be doing that. Granted, yes, that's what the majority of people do. The median household income making around $61,000, they're gonna live, have their kid go over to their public school, they're gonna enjoy their life, not really make too much of a big difference. That's the thing, that the median household also doesn't retire early or have $1 million in retirement by the time that they're ready to, when really if they were taught about finance and education from an early age, they should be able to, and that's what I want to focus on and fix for a minute.
So don't talk to me about normal. Normal sucks. I don't want to be normal. I don't want you to be normal. And if you ask me questions about how you can be more normal, you're not going to like the answers. Normal does not work.
So let's take what I did, for example. I had almost a full ride going over to university, but instead I went and got my real estate license and completely threw that all away. Why? Not because I at the time realized how much of a scam that college is, but because I realized that going to college isn't going to give me the lifestyle that I wanted. And how did I reach that decision? Well, we're going to have to backtrack a little bit here first. Now, let's take your standard high school experience. Maybe you're taking some AP and honors courses. You're really digging into the meat of materials, thinking that you've actually been taught something. Or maybe you're just going in for a standard class and you're just writing your essays, doing your math equations, doing a couple science experiments, right? Well, congratulations, you come out of high school knowing your history, a basic understanding of government, and nothing about finance. I put this post on my story the other day in Instagram, and I asked, hey, what's one thing that you really wish that they taught you in high school? And over 50% of the answers in there were taxes. And honestly, that scares me because taxes are the easy part of finance. Congratulations, you come out of high school, you know the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, you can write a basic essay, and hopefully you understand how politics works, and now you shoot off to university where you're taught to make one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. Watch this. Hey Alexa, what's the average college tuition price?
The average undergraduate out-of-state tuition of colleges is $17,400 US.
And straight out of high school, where you used to be able to have to ask whether or not you could use the bathroom, you're now paying the equivalent of a down payment on an over $300,000 home. And guess what? We're not even going to talk about the fact of how many times people change their major for their undergrad. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to alienate my audience over here by splitting the political grounds of saying college should be free, social welfare, inequalities, and everything like that. That's a completely different discussion. What I am going to talk about is how little our colleges actually care about us as the people. Because in the end, most of these universities are made to run a profit. A professor's main job is not to teach. That's something that a lot of people misunderstand. Professors, especially when you're looking at universities like Harvard, Yale, your Ivy Leagues or A-list schools, their primary job is to be doing research. They'll get those undergrad hours in, sure, they'll be teaching a seminar here or there, giving a lecture, honing their craft, but what they're really made there to do is to be doing research for the university in order to actually be making the university more money. So I did a little bit of research going into this video. My hypothesis was that the highest paid professors would also be the ones that put in the most amount of research hours. They're doing the most dollar effective activities for the university. And while that was kind of true, I found something else that was even more shocking. Highest paid people at universities was not always the president or principal of the university. It wasn't always the head of the medical department or head of the law department. Way more often than not, it wasn't even a teacher or a person on admin staff whatsoever. The real money is in the endowment managers. Look at Harvard for a deeper dive of a little bit further information on this. Everyone sees Harvard as one of the top performing schools in the entirety of the United States, very competitive to get into, and if you don't get financial aid, it will pretty much run you dry. Now, taking all of that into account, let's also look at the Harvard endowment, which totals over $40.9 billion with a B dollars. That's over a $1.7 billion increase from year over year. And of which only 35% of the school's actual operating budget is covered by the endowment, and the operating budget of the endowment that we're taking out of, which was $1.8 billion last year, is used for professor salaries, which means what is all of this money doing? Well, the truth is a lot of it's being paid out to big bonuses on the chief administrative team for the endowment, such as we mentioned earlier, the Harvard endowment chief, which was paid $8.6 million last year. So what are they doing with all of this money? They're not giving it to you and me to make it cheaper to be able to go to university. They're letting this money grow, which, yes, they have the right to do. All of this is a private entity. They're able to spend this money however they please. But if they really wanted all of this money to actually go to good use for their students, why not give a little bit of tuition assistance to everybody? A 4-year undergrad degree over at Harvard is going to cost $200,000. Of course, you're going to have financial aid to be helping this out. They do give some tuition support, especially if you're making under $65,000 a year. We're going to get government aid and everything else, but the question is, why is it so expensive to go there? The better question is, why are they charging so much when they have such a large endowment already? I'll pose another question of why is it so expensive for college in the first place? Well, that will lead you down an entirely separate rabbit hole, the privatization of schools, and how everything is just led to money in the end. Now, I'll tell you that a Harvard education is one of the best that you're going to be able to get in this country. But is it worth $200,000 versus the $17,000 that you're going to be paying at the median university? Absolutely not. So school is failing you. School's failing me. School's failed us all. So we need to be taking the initiative into our own hands to be teaching ourselves things. And I know I'm giving these crazy examples, like places like Harvard and Stanford, but it boils down to the local level too, and that is what's really terrifying. My local university endowment is roughly $250 million. If you want to fact check me on that, go ahead and look up the University of Nevada, Reno Endowment Fund. And yes, some of this money does go towards much needed research. It goes towards keeping up maintenance and everything, but when you see endowments growing into the billions of dollars, you have to think, why is this money not going towards our students? You follow that tunnel, it leads you down something that's absolutely terrible in the finance world. All of these different hedge funds listed under different names, but they're really one giant thing that manage all of these endowments. These hedge funds are making millions of dollars every single year off of people like you and me that decide to go to university in order to hire their educations and actually teach themselves something, because they're taught that that is the only way that they can actually contribute to society, and that's terrifying. What can we do? What can we change? Unfortunately, on a large scale, the answer is probably nothing. In the grandiose scheme of things, not much is going to end up changing from the Harvard's $40 billion endowment. It's probably going to keep growing, as well as my local university, as well as yours, as well as everything else in the United States. There is still something that you personally can do. Every year, so many Americans are going into an astronomical amount of debt for degrees that most of the time aren't going to end up paying them off in the end. I'm 1000% for you being able to chase your passion and follow what you love in life. Or when you're going into 6 figures of debt, you have to think what is the most efficient way of doing that. The difference between good debt and bad debt, and how to really use this to your advantage. So that's why I made this channel, is to follow the financial journey that I'm going on as someone who never decided to go to university, someone who went out and made their own business on YouTube and in real estate and officially quit their 9-to-5 job. Watch out for that video coming out soon. School doesn't teach you about finance. Business degrees teach you about marketing. With the opportunities that we are given in America, I truly believe that 75% of people born in this country should be able to become millionaires if they were given the proper education. If not them, then their children. Able to create this generational wealth by subverting expectations, by not just going down the traditional route that you're taught that you have to do, and making a difference in life. Sorry that the school system has failed you and the school system has failed me. What you can do to help anyone else is to share this channel with them in order to teach us all something that we should have been taught back in middle school. How to create a budget, how to use debt to your advantage, how to understand how to stall for time because you don't know what to say next. You're gonna learn how to budget, how to take control of your finances, and sure, I'll teach you how to pay your taxes too. Because this is our financial journey and we're in this together. My name is Mateo, and if you haven't already, check the description down below for the links to Robinhood and Webull, and there's a Discover card down there. Get all of your free stocks. You need to start investing early, because if you don't, then how are you going to end up retiring? I don't mean to fearmonger over here. Check the description down below. Get a free $50 with Discover. So without further ado, leave a like on the video and subscribe. I will see you next time until we continue our financial journeys.